Hey everybody, it's JD from 6x6 Cornhole Bag Data. Today I want to give you a video that helps explain how to use our force value to determine your perceived speed while playing cornhole. When I talk to people about cornhole bag speeds, they always describe them to me as a constant speed. And what I mean by that is when you're driving down the road, you hit a certain speed and you turn on your cruise control, right? That's a constant speed. But in cornhole, as soon as we let go of that bag, it's like turning off that cruise control, and we're looking to see how long it takes us to stop. And there's a bunch of variables that determine that actual distance it takes us to stop that bag once it hits the board. So when we're playing, we think about and we take into consideration the humidity, temperature, is there a wind or a breeze, what's the finish on the board, what is the actual friction that bag has on that board, as well as the angle of impact. And that's why we provide a force value. So when we measure bags at 50% humidity and 70 degrees, every single bag. And that means that all of our force values are apples to apples, directly compared to each other. And the values range from 1 to 10. And so any bag that has a force value closer to 1 means that it takes less force to move that bag, which means it's going to tend to be a faster bag. And any value that's closer to 10 means that it requires more force to move that bag, or is going to be a slower bag. And we can use this force value in conjunction with some of those other variables to help determine our perceived speed. So when we look at cornhole, the two values that we determine to have the largest impact on your perceived speed are the friction of the bag on the board and the actual angle of impact of that bag when it hits the board. So when I mean angle of impact, it's, are you throwing that bag low or are you throwing that bag high, right? And depending on the angle it hits the board, we can actually give that a value between 1 and 10. So if we're throwing it low, right, that's going to be a value closer to 10. If we're throwing it high, it's a value closer to 1. And we can use those two, we can use our force value and the angle of impact to kind of do a rough but accurate calculation of what our perceived speed is going to be. That equation is 11 minus the force value times the angle of impact / release. And this table here shows how different force values and the angle of impact influence our perceived speed. Part of this is I'm not saying that other variables do not change our perceived speed. Like, we know that temperature, humidity, wind all impact how that bag's going to play once it hits the board, but we're just saying that these two, angle of impact and the force value, are the two biggest predictors of what your perceived speed are going to be. So I hope this helps. Please let us know what you think about the perceived speed or force values, and please let us know if you have any questions. And thank you for your continued support of 6x6 bags and what we do to help standardize our sport of cornhole.